Did you have a job at this time?
Yes.
What was your job?
At the time, I had my own painting company.
So, was your dad that helpful with everyone in the family?
I believe so.
To your knowledge?
To my knowledge.
Okay. How was your dad and Scott's relationship?
They had a great relationship.
Would he take care of Scott
Yes.
financially?
Yes, Scott worked at the farm. So they kind of had a, Scott worked at the farm. I mean, it was a lot of work. And my brother did not have another job, and my brother had to have money to live. So it's, I didn't know the details of it. I didn't know if they had like a, agreement of how much, or I don't know what that looked like. But yeah, I mean, I know the money my brother would be from my father.
Would you and your dad ever get in arguments about money?
Wouldn't really consider it an argument. I mean, he'd get mad at me for spending money or asking him for money, or there were even times, I mean, when I had his credit card number, I mean, then I would use it without his permission, without asking it first. And he'd get upset with me, but it wasn't an argument. It was more, he was just upset with me.
So when it came to the beach, he was okay paying for that.
Yeah, he was going with us.
And was there an agreement between the two of you with what that would look like?
I was going to pay for everything there, the dinners, whatever, things you pay for at the beach. And he was going to pay for the condo.
Did you eventually pick out a condo?
We did.
And who booked that condo?
My father.
Did he tell you when he booked it?
Yes.
Do you remember when he booked it?
I don't remember, but I remember he texted me. He said it's booked.
Was it prior to, well, it's obviously prior to the vacation itself. Was it prior to July, let's say, 1st?
Yes.
So it was the end of June.
Yeah.
Did you discuss it at his birthday?
He told me I had stopped and bought a raft to take to the beach because I was actually buying his birthday gift at Academy. And I called him, I said, hey, I got a raft to take to the beach. And he's like, yeah. He's like, don't talk about that while you're here.
Okay. While you're where?
At the house.
Okay. Was your mom going to the beach?
No.
How do you know that?
Because my father told me he was trying to get her to go to the beach and she refused.
Okay. Did you talk to her about the beach?
I did.
And what was her reaction to you?
She told me she had too much going on and she couldn't go.
Okay. So who would have, if the trip came up, who would have gone?
It would have been me, my wife Jenna, both of my daughters, Elle and Addie, and my father.
Let's talk about Jenna for a second. When did you and Jenna get married?
July of 2015.
And did your dad help you out with your engagement or wedding to Jenna? Financially?
Yes.
How so?
He helped me with the engagement ring, and he also paid for the rehearsal dinner at our wedding.
Okay. And you said it was in 2015?
The wedding.
The wedding was in 2015? Okay. So you had been married to Jenna for 3 years.
Yes.
At this point. And when the girls came to visit you, would they stay with you and Jenna?
They would stay with me and Jenna, and then they would stay at the farm a lot.
The conversations about the beach with your mom, was that over the phone, in person? How did you guys discuss the beach?
Most of the conversations with my mother we spoke, but I don't remember exactly how that, if it was text messages or if it was a phone call. I don't remember.
But at that point, to your knowledge, she was not going.
Correct.
Okay. Now, after your father's birthday, I want to talk about that next week, okay?
Okay.
The first week in July of 2018. Were your girls scheduled to come down and stay with you?
Yes.
When did they come down?
They arrived at between 8 and 9 a.m. The morning of July the 3rd.
The morning of July 3rd, and that's Tuesday?
Yes.
So the Tuesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Did you work on Monday, July 2nd?
I don't remember, but probably. I would think so, but I don't remember.
Okay. So the morning.
I mean, it was a holiday week, you know, so probably, I don't remember.
Okay. Let's talk about the morning of July 3rd, that Tuesday. What did that morning look like to you? What did you do?
Woke up, drove to the airport, Hartsfield-Jackson, picked my kids up. They always wanted to go to Waffle House. They don't have that in Maine. So we went to Waffle House.
Who was it that went?
Ella, Addie, and myself.
Jenna was not with you?
No.
Okay. So how long did you eat at Waffle House for?
30 minutes.
What did you do next?
We went back to my condo and
Where
hung
was
out at 55 Far Road in Buckhead.
Buckhead, okay. And what did you do then?
Just hung out. You know, I had a dog at the time. They were very fond of Oliver. That's my dog's name, or was my dog's name. We hung out, and they were itching to do what they had what they thought planned, you know, for their trip, which is.
And what were their plans?
Well, Addie had already arranged with Cameron, which is Chad Bruce's daughter. My sister Amanda at the time, what eventually become, I guess when they got married, her stepdaughter. They had planned, because they, both had phones. They would text each other, and they say, "Oh, I'm coming down to stay with me, visit my dad, and we're going to have a sleepover at the farm." So that was Addie's plans.
Okay.
Ella's plans were she had this friend Emma, who was the daughter of, I think, this guy named Terry, who he lived on Birmingham Highway, and my mother had become friends with him, and Emma had become friends with Ella, and Ella and Emma had talked, and Emma's mom actually trained horses at this facility up in Cumming. I believe it was Cumming. It was up near the farm, but it was, I know she lived in Cumming because I dropped her off there that afternoon. So they were itching to go. They had plans.
Okay. And none of them with you, it sounds like.
No. I mean, we
they were how old?
Yeah, they were preteens at the time. They were 12 and 14 years old. Like they were very social.
They were busy.
They were busy.
So, did you execute these plans for them?
Addie's plans did not come to fruition the night of the 3rd. Mm-hmm. She had asked to do that, and I said, "Well, you got to ask your grandmother," and it just didn't work out. But I did take Ella to Emma's mom's house and dropped her off. She went to have a sleepover. They were actually going to sleep over at this horse training facility, and I think they had like a pool or a pond they swam in, and she was all excited about it. So we actually stopped at Target on the way up there so she could buy a new bathing suit.
Okay.
And I dropped her off at Emma's mom's house. I think her name was Beth, maybe. But yeah, I dropped her off there.
What time was that?
I'd say if I had to put a number on it, between 4 and 4:30 p.m.
On the 3rd.
Correct.
Okay. After you dropped Ella off at Emma's on the 3rd, where did you go next?
Well, I called my father and I said, hey, do you want to meet us for dinner? Because I hadn't talked to him that day. And he said, I'm working. I say, oh, cool. I was like, well, let's, meet